Yeah, and welcome to Papastache 102. So, I'm going to do a little bit something different. I'm going to start teaching more actual how to play guitar lessons as well. You know, I'm not going to give up the songs and teaching that stuff by any means, but what's cool to do is once we learn how to play these awesome tunes, right? Learn how to apply that kind of stuff, maybe what the players are thinking of, you know, or different tools that they have at their disposal that allows them to improvise. You know, you may have heard some of these guys live, and by all means, check out your favorite bands live. Say you like Van Halen or Hendrix or, you know, any of these players. Clapton doesn't have to be new or old stuff. It can be new stuff as well, right? You know, if you like country or whatever. Check them out live because oftentimes, right, they'll be reserved on the album and then they just totally cut loose live, and it's just like, oh my god, you know, I mean, I thought the guy was good, but now they're insane. So what I'm going to do is start to teach you how to apply stuff so you can be the insane one, just tearing it up, or just so much soul it just oozing through your guitar and you're just so greasy the guitar just slips right out of your hands. Don't forget the link below. If you want a song request, go ahead and click that link. I'm going to post a DVD. I got DVDs too. A link down there somewhere in the video on how you can check those out as well. So let's get into it. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down how I play pentatonic stuff. For years and years and years, I loved minor pentatonic, right? I really got into Stevie Ray Vaughan and all that kind of stuff. Just I love aggressive blues guitar players. But I also really started digging country music, and I found that I really was lacking knowing how to play major pentatonic. So I spent some time doing that. And then when I found out that you can combine the two, right? You have masters at it like Clapton, Angus Young, Neil Schon of Journey, even Van Halen to a certain degree. And then of course, all the country players, you know, you got like Brad Paisley and just all these just monster, even Keith Urban and just monster guitar players in country music, right? I mean, I know there's a million, there's too many to list, but you know, Brent Mason, all these guys that are just terrifying, right? But I found that they're basically mixing major and minor. And I've done some other lessons on this on some other channels and stuff, but I haven't really done too much of it here. So I'm going to break down what I do, or what a lot of people do, or what I've seen other players do. It kind of falls under this framework, right? And I have some DVDs. I'll post a link below, and it really goes in depth to all this stuff too, but I'll leave a link. So what we're going to do is I like to think of, since I am more well-versed in minor pentatonic, I like to think in minor pentatonic shapes, and then I throw the major pentatonic shapes over the top of that. So let me give you a for instance, right? A minor. Position 1. Now there's 5 positions. I highly recommend you learn all of them. It won't take you very long. There's only 2 notes per string, right? And then major pentatonic, exact same shapes, just in a different spot. So if we're going to do A major, right there, same shape. So position 1, I call this position 1. Right? The exact same thing is right here for A major, exact same shape. Now, what happens is, if you're in position 1 right here of minor pentatonic, position 2 of major lays basically over the top of that, okay? So this is where we start to be able to mix major and minor together, and this is why these shapes look like this. So here we go. If you don't know what position 1 minor pentatonic, A minor, looks like, it's 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, right? That's a G string. 5, 8, B, 5, 8, E string. Okay, now that's position 1. Okay, now, like I said, learn all the positions because you'll know position 2. Looks like that, right? Now, if we infuse position 2 major over the top of that and then add what you've heard maybe before the blues note, we're going to get this. So now we have. So those two strings are 8, 7, 5, right? Now we're going to have every note in a row here. So we have blues note, 7, 6, 5. Now we're also going to have right here. So in between the A minor box, you have 7, 6, 5, 7, 6, 5. And you have 8, 7, 5. Okay, so you have. Now, that's a boatload of notes, right? And it's like, okay, well, what do I do with that? Now, I like to think of this, right, as accenting. You know, you play in those minor pentatonic shapes, right? That's A minor boxes. But what I'm doing is I'm basically infusing A major chords over the top of that. So the third is the note that makes the chord either major or minor. So if we have A major, right, we have our second finger down. That's on the 6th fret of the G. Now to make that minor, just take that finger off. So when you want to infuse a major flavor in, let's say, a minor pentatonic position, so what I'm doing, just typical blues runs. You'll find in blues playing, a lot of people do what's called stacking. Or I call it stacking. You're stacking notes on top of each other. So it's like 8B, 8E, back to 8B, right? Right, so you get. Right now I'm using my fingers to get that kind of popping sound, but I'm doing the stacking. Now all I did there was I took a minor shape and threw that major note in there. Now one thing you need to remember is octaves and where the octaves are. So if I have this major third right here, if I go to the lower octave, right, same note down, you know, an octave. I'm trying to get creative and use another word other than octave, but you know, it just suits what we're doing. So octave, right there, and then you also have it right here. So, and it's out of tune, which is even better. But what we can do, close enough for rock and roll, is use that same riff. Right, so what I did was I used that minor shape. That's position 2, back into position 1, position 5. But if you'll notice, I use the same. I use this riff as the octave right here. Same thing right here. Same thing right here. Same notes, they're just in different octaves. So what I did was I added that major third. Okay, so now what we've done is used the major third inside of a minor pentatonic shape to kind of pull the ear in the major flavored direction, and then go right back into the awesome kind of ZZ Top flavored minor pentatonic sound. Now, and then we use octaves, so we basically did the same riff 3 different times, and we moved it all over the neck from high to low, so it sounds like we did a bunch when in reality we did one riff. So I went 10, 8, and then you can hammer on to 9 or pick it. and that's 10, 8. And then what I did was I went 9 on the G, 7 on the G, back to that major third, right? Here's our A chord. Here's our A chord, right? Here's the A chord. Well, you can do it. Well, I'll show you that other version in a second. Right there's an A chord as well. So we're covering 3 different A chords by doing that, and then so that's 5 and 6. Then we go to D, 7, 5, 7, 5, 3, 4. So we got. Now you can, right, that kind of a riff. Right? So, what I'm doing, and I got away from just that simple riff and added in one of those position 2 riffs, right, of major pentatonic. And I started adding other stuff, but that's really 2 simple concepts, right? I took the notes. I know there's my A chord. I know that A minor pentatonic's right here. So if I want to make an A major sound over that kind of rock and roll, neither major or minor progression, right? I can start outlining that chord, and I know in position 2, right, of major pentatonic, all those notes are right there, and the chord. So that's position 2 of major inside position 1 of minor. So when we start to add all that stuff together, right, that was the first kind of theme we had. Then add that blues note. So let me give you a quick review of what that's going to sound like when I combine all those things together. So what we're going to do is spend a couple of lessons breaking down different riffs and different ideas that we can do. We don't have to make it complicated, right? I find some of my favorite playing of all time is the slower playing, right? Now that I did a couple of faster runs in there or whatever, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? You can really get creative. You have all those different notes that you can use at your disposal. Just knowing simple concepts like here's position 1 minor pentatonic, and here's the major chord, A major chord, right inside of that box. Just that alone, you can spend an eternity on coming up with your own cool, awesome melodic riff ideas using those simple concepts like stacking and putting that chord inside of that box. And just tweak around with it. I'm going to do a bunch of different lessons with that sort of theme in mind and kind of teach you how to play guitar more than just always teaching songs. And then that way, if you ever get in a band situation and you're playing, whatever the song, like Shook Me All Night Long or White Room by Clapton or any of these songs, right? Say you're in a classic rock band or even in a country band. You can not only play their solos, which I'll teach you, right? But you can also improvise, which is really awesome in a crowd sort of context. You can really take the music someplace, and if people are dancing, by all means, keep them dancing, right? So if it means just jamming out a song, by all means, let it fly. Yes, awesome job, way to go. Again, I'm going to do kind of a, multi-part series and this whole major minor pentatonic soloing thing. it's really when I was a young player, what I wanted to hear, right? It was like, what are they doing? Like, I don't even understand where all these notes are coming from. And then somebody showed me, and I'm like, wow, it's that simple? Seriously? And then you just learn your favorite guitar player's riffs, and then you just, tweak them and throw your own little curveball in there, and shazam! You're just doing your own awesome shredding. And people are just like, dude, I never knew, Johnny, you could play so good. And that's my goal, is to get all you guys playing better and better and better. I know I'm not the world's greatest guitar player by any means. I mean, I'm sure there's kids down the street that are like 12 that are better than me. But it's not about being the best. It's about having fun. So let's have fun, play guitar, and just jam on. Thank you so much for your support. Catch you next time.